So, today's talk is called Never Too Busy for God, which I really had to laugh at when I saw 6 people here earlier. I thought, never too busy for God. How ironic. How very ironic. But again, I have to shift my thought. I have to think differently. Today's talk is based on Matthew 1:25, which is about, Matthew 25, 1 through 8, which is about the 10 virgins, 10 bridesmaids, depending upon which version of the Bible you read. And it's about these 10 bridesmaids who are, they're coming to the wedding. And I want to show you this one part. I thought I had one part. No, I don't. Doesn't matter. So there are 10 bridesmaids, and they've all got their oil lamps. And there are 5 wise ones and 5 foolish ones. And they're coming, and they get to a place of rest, and the bridegroom is late. So they take a rest. Well, when they wake up around midnight, when the groomsmen come, their lamps are burning out. Now it's time for the big event, and their light is burning out. They're becoming burnt out. Well, the 5 wise bridesmaids brought extra oil with them. They stocked up on oil. And so they relit their lamps. They refilled their lamps so that their light would shine. The 5 foolish ones, they didn't bring extra oil. They didn't prepare for how things would unfold. And they asked the wise ones to share their oil. And they said, no, we can't. We don't have extra oil for you. And so you'll have to go back and get more oil. Well, the groomsmen come, the bridegroom comes, the 5 wise bridesmaids and the groom, they go to the wedding. By the time the 5 foolish ones get there, they can't get in. Knock on the door. And the person at the door says, I don't know who you are. You can't come in. They burnt out. And they couldn't be there for what they really wanted. And they didn't refresh their oil. They didn't prepare more oil. And that's what happens with a lot of us. You know, we spend years praying, meditating, everything, and then we get busy. We get very busy. And we're so busy, we can't pray anymore. Except, a few perfunctory prayers. We've stopped meditating. We've stopped desiring God's will, and we've really been keen on desiring our own. And all of a sudden we get to that point of really crossing the line into the promised land. And we can't see where it is. We can't see it because our light has gone out. The oil has gone down. And we can't relight the light today. And it's so frustrating when we can't do that, when we're so busy being right. And it's not that, the 5 who had the oil were being selfish to the other 5. It's just that, we can't borrow each other's spiritual principles. If you're all prayed up, I can't get that from you. If you're all meditated up and I am not, I can't get that from you. I can't get your faith from you. I can't get your beliefs from you. I can't get any of it. And so I'm stuck over here, and I've got to go back. And I've got to go sit in a chapel and recharge. And I'll get to the kingdom when it's my time. Fortunately, there is no punishment from God. There is just a delay of my journey. There is a delay of my manifestation. There is a delay of my joy, my peace, my wisdom, my understanding, my happy, joyous, and free. There is a delay because when I get burnt out, I start to think that my thoughts are right. When I'm burned out, I try to force my will upon myself and others. When I'm fried and I can't light, then I've got to draw on, I go into spiritual ketosis, as it were, and I start eating away at my spiritual muscles instead of the spiritual fat. And I'm sure, but it's got to be this way. It's just got to be this way, but it isn't. But it's got to be, because this is the only way I know, but it isn't. But it's got to be. For some of us, when it hits the fan, we are surprised to hear that there is a spiritual solution for this. That we could have a thought or an affirmation even. And affirmations don't make a thing true, but they remind us of what is true. You know, suddenly we come down with the flu, we come down with whatever, you know, something comes up in the body, a healing that looks like awful sickness, and we think we're at its mercy. We think we're at the body's mercy. And it doesn't occur to us to remind ourselves of the wellness in truth. Because we're burnt out. And we can't light the oil because there's no oil to light. We can't light the wick because there's no oil flowing through the wick. And so we are the foolish bridesmaid. And what we're looking to, the groom in this case is the Christ. Not Jesus the man. The groom is the Christ. And we want to be there for the wedding of the Christ. Because all who participate in the wedding of the Christ are lit even further by the Christ. So that's our responsibility. Our responsibility isn't to fix the world. We do not have to create peace. Peace was created in the beginning. And so we're never going to create what God already created. We're not going to create love in our life. We're not going to create joy in our life. We're not going to create abundance in our life. We're not going to create any of that. Love is what God is. You're not going to create God. Wisdom is what God is. You're not going to create God. Prosperity even is what God is. Health is what God is. You and I are not going to create God. We're going to reveal it to our consciousness. That's why we come up here. To reveal to our consciousness that we may be the wise bridesmaid. That we may be the wise one who every day takes our time to meditate, to pray. You know, 2 weeks ago, I gave everyone a journal, a notebook to journal. And was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. That was the 30th of December. And we sat here and we journaled for 5 minutes. 1 page. And I don't know what you put on your paper. It could have been nothing. I'm sitting here, Shawn's making me do this, and I don't know what to say. And that is healthy, and that is fine. And we spent 5 minutes in the silence. 5. That was 10 minutes. 10 minutes to collect oil. 10 minutes to get a surplus of oil for the day, so that our way may be lit all the time. Imagine if you always knew exactly the right thing to think. If you always knew exactly the right thing to say, and you always knew exactly the right thing to do, because there is a divine order between the three. One of our 12 divine mind faculties is order, and it sits in the navel. But it starts, just before that is love and wisdom. Love in the heart, wisdom, right here in the solar plexus. And these two faculties work together and they create an activity called discernment. And what is discernment except always knowing the right thing to think, the right thing to say, and the right thing to do? And that is different than what your earthly parents told you. It's not about, David's mother's motto was, just be nice. Just be nice. It's not always nice to be nice. It lets people off the hook of emotions, but it doesn't always let them off the hook of having to step up and say, okay, I choose God today. I choose God, even if it means giving up all of my earthly loves. Even if it means giving up all my false realities. There's an oxymoron for you. All of my false realities. Even if it means giving those up. So that I can be present to have fun. That I can be present for assurance. That I can be present for the conviction of that which I do not yet see. And for many of us, it's likely to be quite uncomfortable. But I'm going to ask you this right here and right now. Are you too busy for God? Are you too busy to pray? A true prayer. A true prayer is not, oh, please, God, give me more time. Good heavens, God has given you no time. What more could you ask for than no time? Because all things can be accomplished in no time. But nothing gets accomplished in worrying about, I don't have enough time. Except you get to complete your worrying about having no time. Congratulations. But God has given us no time. And so, never too busy for God. Oh, I can't do this because I've got to go to work today, I've got to take care of my mother, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And then suddenly, you're the foolish bridesmaid who is burnt out. It happened to me. Before I went on my sabbatical, I got fried. I got too busy, I got too concerned, became oversensitive, and I fried. And so I went apart for a while. And I got some oil. And since I've come back, I have sought every single day to replenish my oil. To replenish my oil. To replenish my oil. So that when the appearance of adversity comes up, I know to go to God instead of to my ego. I know to go to God instead of what would my mother think. I know to go to God instead of what would my neighbors think. I know to go to God. And it's not always comfortable. But God, I didn't see anywhere in the Bible where it said I would be comfortable. I don't see anywhere in A Course in Miracles where it says you will be comfortable. Just do this and you'll be comfortable. Nowhere do I see it says while you're in this body you're going to be wildly comfortable. If that were the case, we wouldn't keep trying to find new chairs and new shoes, and to get you to change so I can be comfortable, and to get my past to change so I can be comfortable. As I told you when I did the Vipassana thing, and there were 3 aspects of Vipassana meditation. One is to eradicate all craving. One is to eradicate all aversion. And the other is to eradicate all ignorance. And I came to the understanding that I had a great craving for comfort. And the reason I have a great craving is because I have a great aversion to discomfort. And it is my ignorance that tells me if I just get comfortable, I won't be uncomfortable. And so I'm like a hamster running around a circle trying to get comfortable, Let me say this to you, maybe that'll work. Let me say this to you, and maybe could you change it? Could you think this way? Could you do it this way? Could you do it this way? And I'm going to sit up here. Anything to get comfortable. Anything to get comfortable. And I never am. So what does that tell me? Just pursue God. Just seek God every day. Fill up your well of oil. Fill up your bucket with oil. Fill up your tank with oil. Fill up your mind with oil. Oil that we're speaking of is the anointing oil of the Christ. the very anointing oil of the Christ. And how do you do that? You breathe. You remember to breathe. In the car, you can have a very fast meditation with it's very calming to do that. Do it with me. Take a breath and open your mouth wide when you exhale. It's not a force, it's a gentle. And that's a quick, speedy meditation. And you can get more oil on the way. That can dispel your fear. That can dispel your confusion so that suddenly you have a divine idea. Never too busy for God. Never too busy to breathe. Imagine that. Who here has been too busy to just breathe? Too busy to love. Too busy to ask for clarity. Too arrogant to want the truth. Too arrogant to be happy. Too busy to claim the will of God. To be happy, to be joyous, to be free. It's not a theory. It's a divine possibility, and it's something that we can prove. So congratulations to us all today. Just breathe.